What's going on, guys? Hope you're living well and going strong today. Just want to share a couple things from 2 Kings 13. Looking at Jehoaz, it says in verse 2 that he did evil in the eyes of the Lord. Well, how? How did he do evil in the eyes of the Lord? It said by following the sins of Jeroboam, which had caused Israel to commit sin. So some of the applications I took right from that, it says he followed the sins of. So I thought about myself, I thought about us, and what can we do? We have free will, and we don't have to follow the sins of others, but we can. It could be the sins of our fathers, it could be the sins of our friends that are enticing us to do things that we shouldn't do, or acquaintances, or people at work. So I just want to challenge myself first, and then you guys, to pursue Jesus, who it says in Hebrews is the author and perfecter of our faith. So don't follow the sins of someone else. Be better. The other thing is, we don't look to fit in with culture. Jesus was countercultural. He challenged the status quo and against the thinkings of the world. And it says that Jesus, again, is the author and perfecter of our faith. So we look to him. We don't look to other people, try to compare ourselves to others and things that make us feel better about ourselves, but we look to Jesus. Secondly, it says that Jeroboam had done these things, and he caused Israel to commit sin. So what challenged me about that is that we have influence, and we can cause others to commit sins, or we can be a stumbling block to other believers, or a stumbling block even to those that are seeking. So how am I influencing? How are you influencing others for the cause of Jesus around us? In verse 4 it says, Jehoaz was at the end of his rope and he sought the Lord's favor. He actually pleaded with God. And at this point, you know, they had turned their back on God. They were doing all these sins, idol worship, all this crazy stuff. And it continues to amaze me about God's grace in my own life and others. And throughout the Old Testament, as I'm reading through this, it says, well, what I asked was, how did God respond right there? It says, he listened to him and provided a deliverer. So not only did he listen to him graciously, but then he provided a way of escape in the situation. He provided a deliverer. So in application, you can always turn back to God, but I want to encourage you, don't wait until you're at the end of your rope. God loves you and wants to be there for you and wants to change your life now. But please know that even if you are or you get to the end of your rope, he will be there. Second thing that hit me is God's grace is amazing. I see the example of Israel throughout the Old Testament in my spiritual walk and other spiritual walk, where we have this kind of repetitive, I get cold, I need help, I seek God, he restores me, he blesses me, he does these things, and then rinse and repeat. So I don't want that to happen. I want to stay on fire for God. I hope you guys do too. But God's grace is so much bigger than our sin. And it actually tells us that in Romans 5:20. It says, where sin abounds, God's grace increased all the more. But just because God's grace is bigger than our sin doesn't mean we should continue to sin. It doesn't mean that we should want to sin. We should be like Jesus, knowing that that's the life and life-giving to the fullest. And sadly enough, even after all that happened, it says that they did not turn away from their sins. So that really challenged me is if I come out of a season of that I stay away from the sins, that I try to be more like Jesus, and I don't go back to the things that I know are harmful to me and hurt me. So those are just some things from 2 Kings 13 that really hit me this morning, and I hope they hit you too. God bless. If you enjoy anything like this or think it could help, please share this out. It'll be posted on all forms of social media. Take care.